Last weekend was the perfect example of what a lock of the night play should look like and why we don't mind paying chalk if the price is right, and the fighter should go out there and have a distinct advantage over pretty much every aspect that his opponent is usually good at. And that's what we got with Grant Dawson. We know he's a great scrambler, he was the better wrestler, and we know his defensive submission game was good enough to deal with anything that Selecki was going to throw at him. So even though a lot of people saw him going into the trap of Joe Selecki's jiu-jitsu game, I was fairly confident that Dawson would do a good enough job in terms of avoiding the early threat and then going out there and eventually slowly pounding his way to a decision victory. It was slow, it was boring, it was not entertaining whatsoever, but that is the type of lock of the night play I love to have. I got him at minus 330 by fight time. He ballooned up to about minus 500, and I was more than happy to pay that chalk, especially seeing how that fight ended up playing out. That is a quintessential lock of the night play. Don't care about the chalk as long as I know that that fighter has all the advantages in the matchup and can stay away from any of the danger that their opponent possesses. So that now that makes us 1-1 over this past weekend for the lock of the night play. We ended up fumbling on the ACA lock of the night play as our fighter ended up gassing out and losing the final 2 rounds. So that puts us at 1-1 on the weekend for minus 3.48 units, minus 35% ROI, and on the year now takes us to 37-20 for minus 8.72 units and a minus 3% ROI. Again, that slip up on ACA was a small dip in comparison to the momentum that we're currently on over the last few months here. And we hope to continue that going and get us back into the black and the positive as well. I got another 3 lock of the night candidates for you guys this weekend. Again, I only pick one of those as my official lock of the night play. So if you want to find out which one that is, check out the lock of the night Patreon page. Also, we have 5 regional events as well this weekend that I'll be breaking down in written form. I'll have lock of the night plays for those as well. So if you guys want to check that out, that is also going to be found on the Lock of the Night Patreon page. Check that out. Cage Warriors, LFA, OKTAGON, KSW, and PFL will have plays for those. Lock of the Nights for those as well. Again, check out the Lock of the Night Patreon page. Link in the description below. All right, let's get into the 3 Lock of the Night candidates I have for you guys here. First of which is going to be in the first fight of the night with High-Endo Santos coming in at minus 280, going up against Pooja Tomar, who's making her UFC debut here, becoming the first female Indian fighter to be fighting in the UFC. But I just don't think she has what it takes to be successful at this level. She comes from a wushu background, normally stays active with her kicks. She's a BJJ blue belt compared to the black belt that we have with Dos Santos here, and I do think that Dos Santos will take advantage of the poor takedown defense that Tomar shows, allowing Dos Santos to get that top control time, and I believe she'll eventually be able to find a submission in this spot. Tomar has some decent sting on her punches when she can get into a groove, but I think that we'll see solid movement and good level changes from Dos Santos to eventually be able to take this fight to the ground, where I fully expect her to have a huge submission advantage over Tomar. Look for Dos Santos to get that submission within 2 rounds and possibly cash as the lock of the night play. The second lock of the night candidate is going to be Eduarda Moura, who comes in at minus 155 as she goes up against Denise Gomez. Yes, Gomez has a bit of an experience advantage over Moura, but I think that Moura will continue her weight bullying and size bullying ways in this matchup, as she will have a solid size and reach advantage over Denise Gomez. And we've seen Gomez struggle against opponents that look to grind her and grapple her. That's what we saw with Angela Hill and Loma Lukbumi, who are the 2 losses on Denise Gomez's UFC record, and those fighters are mainly strikers / Muay Thai specialists, and we saw how they were able to put the grind on Gomez, taking her to the ground, roughing her up against the cage, and then eventually doing even better work on the mat where they were able to secure some dominant positions. I expect Moura to do the same here, and even though majority of her wins come in the first round, she has gotten a couple wins in the second round. She has won a decision in the past as well, and I think she'll do a good enough job in terms of staying safe from any of the striking threat that Gomez might implement here. But I do think that we'll see Moura control this fight relatively easily, maybe even find a finish in the second or third round as well. The third and final lock of the night play that I have for you guys as a candidate, once again, is Julian Marquez and Zach Reese under 1.5 at minus 155. Both of these guys normally bring the heat whenever they fight, specifically Zach Reese, who's gone out there and and pretty much either won or lost within the first round, or at least the first 6 minutes of his fights. He's a little bit reckless. He throws a lot of big power in his strikes, and I know that Julian Marquez will be more than happy to engage with him in a firefight if that's what Reese wants to bring to the table. I also wouldn't be surprised if Marquez looks to take this to the ground, just as Marquez's teammate Cody Brundage did last time around to Zachary Reese, where he was able to get a slam KO. And I'm not predicting another slam KO here, but I do think that aggressive submission style of Reese off of his back could either provide us with a finish with Reese syncing up a submission, or allowing Marquez to take advantage of some of the trigger happy submissions that Reese throws up there, allowing Marquez to secure better dominant positions and eventually work for a finish there as well. But I do expect this fight to finish within 7.5 minutes, and I expect it to be Marquez who gets his hand raised. But to be on the safe side, let's go with the violence. Let's go with the under 1.5. There you guys go. 3 lock of the night candidates for UFC Louisville. If you guys are looking for which one I actually ended up going with, check the lock of the night Patreon page in the description below. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow for the top 3 dog of the night candidates. See you guys then.